PSY-POD. PSY-POD.
Okay, Kinley, why don't you do the thing?
PSY-POD.
Yay! And we're back with another episode of the pod. And if this is the first time you're listening to the pod, this podcast is about basically nothing, and we ramble on for an hour. And today we're joined back with the return of the king, Pem, and not Kinley. Kinley is back in the pod. Kinley, how have you battled the demons now?
I've exercised them. It was a very, very difficult 3 weeks, but yes, my wife left. So
Yeah, okay. That sounds great. And then
Wow, you're happy. Your wife would be very happy to hear that. Huh?
Yeah, no. At this point, if you're married to me, there are certain things you have to abide by.
Know your place, no man. Back into your chamber.
No, back to Qatar.
Back to Qatar.
Not the right person to talk to when you have this conversation, I guess.
All right.
Okay, Kinley, since you've been out of the pod for a bit, would you like to introduce our guest?
Okay. So our guest for today is the lady, the woman, the superhero behind Yeewong and Yee Getaway, Miss Pem C, and welcome to the pod.
Thank you.
Hello, Ajim.
Hello, everyone.
Well, by the way, this is PSY-POD number 28.
8.
Oh, 28.
Yes, we're on the 28th episode.
Okay.
Now.
And quick reminder for those of you who prefer not to watch the YouTube video, you can listen to the pod on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. Just look for PSY-POD. If you don't want to watch the video, but you want to listen to it.
Or you can just watch this in 144p. Mena.
Yeah, that's there too.
Yeah, you can do that. It's a life hack. Okay? Okay. And anyways, let's go back to Ajim. Okay, Ajim, how have you been? Anything happening these past few days?
But you've been traveling quite a bit.
Little bit, yeah. I just got back from Something. That was amazing. That's a collaboration with Department of Forest and Nature Conservation Division, and that's a production for Yee Getaway, which is also part of Yeewong, and we're also working on the next issue of Yeewong magazine. But it's not just me. I have a very good team, I'm working with. So yeah, I've been busy with that.
So is Yee Getaway under Yeewong?
Yes.
Or is it a separate entity?
Yeah, there's a lot of confusion around it. So Yeewong Bhutan is a multimedia company. We have people who work there. We have a small team, a very hardworking team, and we have Shime, and then we have Yee Getaway, then we have Yeewong magazine and documentary production services under
Yeewong Multimedia.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it became a Yeewong magazine to now Yeewong, just Yeewong.
Yeewong Bhutan.
Yeewong Bhutan.
Yeah.
Okay. Now how long has it been, Ajim? Come see, ask that.
Yalama Yasme, 14 years.
14 years, wow.
Really? Sorry.
How old were you?
I could have sworn it was less than that.
No, Yeewong magazine, we started back in 2008. But it's gone through quite the evolution.
Yes.
I think a huge part of it I was all by myself, working on it in a tiny office. Sometimes it was my parents' garage house. But now it's a multimedia company. So yeah, I think since we started it's been 14
years, 2008.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember Pem C when I used to volunteer at Kuzu. I used to see Pem C there. And
yeah, you were so chunku, no?
I'm still
He was in his white.
He's grown sideways.
sideways, of course. So have you. You've grown sideways.
Okay.
Ajim, you were working at Kuzu? Or you were an RJ or something?
No, I actually worked at Centennial Radio, but I didn't have the confidence or the personality to be an RJ. But I was working as like a reporter, so I would go to like different events to collect news and then write news for the radio. But I had good friends at Kuzu, so I would hang out there, and I was always a huge fan of radio and back when social media wasn't really that. Man, I make it sound like it was such a long time ago.
But when you consider the technology of 2008, no?
I mean, when did smartphones come to Bhutan? 2011, 2010, 2011. It's been about 12 years since we've had smartphones.
Yeah, 2008, I had a Nokia playing Snake there. So now look at what we've reached today.
Yeah, and it was quite interesting to sort of see that evolution as well.
Yes.
Like what we were part of. Because then when we were doing the magazine, it was like not really the next big thing, but there weren't a lot of people who were getting into that. I remember when I had when we had photo shoots, I had to literally go looking for models. Nobody wanted to model.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
had to
yeah.
beg my friends to model.
Yeah, I feel
And there's no makeup, artists or whatever.
the industry did not exist in Junor.
Near me. And now you have all this kind of content coming out on social media, which is great. It's exciting. So yeah, it's nice to see that transition happening.
But Ajim, what was the initial reason? Were you always interested? I always thought one day I want to make a magazine.
Me, yeah.
So how did it come about?
But I was always interested in media,
Okay.
even from school, journalism, and I just wanted to. I think I wanted to be a storyteller. I didn't think it would be on a digital platform. But it's. I think it's a combination of karma, coincidence, and what life brings to you.
Who is karma?
And then
He's a nice person who gives you good things. He gives you good things if you do good things to him.
Yeah.
How do you know
Actually,
it's a
that's
him?
a nice way to put it.
How do you know it's a him?
Yeah.
No,
it's a they now.
It's non-binary now. Yeah, they're not identified.
Yes.
So karma is
the
non-binary.
universal system
There's
of
no
merit does not have a gender.
Yeah.
Let's not go there. We've
No,
been there so many times. Let's not double
I'm
back.
not trying to make anything controversial here. I'm just saying let's be.
Just don't go there.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
just not go there.
Okay. Yeah.
So
yeah.
then where were we? Then Ajim took the magazine has started. No, so of course there will become a lot of trials and tribulations between us. So what made you keep I'm going to keep not giving up and keep going?
What made me keep going? Well, just when I thought that the Bimitsue, there's not a lot of money in it, and I wasn't coming up with the magazine consistently. It was sometimes 2-3 times a year, sometimes just twice a year, and you need to have that inspiration also, motivation, and there were no other publications in the market at that time. But then they stopped as well. Then I realized people were transitioning into something else that made a lot more money. Then in 2014, when I was like, okay, I don't think I can continue, I met my mentor, and he's a media veteran from Singapore, and he came here to train media agencies on media management.
Sent by the Junor?
Sent by MOIC, I think.
Okay, so government.
Government Kira, because they can invite these international experts.
So they're
to
like a
come and
seminar
train.
or workshop or something?
Yeah, a small conference. And I think I was the only one, from a magazine.
Okay.
And he was so shocked because he came from a magazine background. He's a huge playwright in Singapore, Michael Chiang. But he has a very close connection to Singapore's media. He's been a consultant for Media Corp, and I forgot the name of the newspaper. Anyway, so that's when I met him, and he gave me a lot of ideas, and he really liked Yeewong, and the whole encouragement that came from him, that really woke me up. And he invited me to Singapore. I got to intern at SP, not intern, but I got to go there and just see how they work. And that was when they introduced digital media to me. What you can do by using platforms like Facebook. Instagram wasn't that huge at that time when I was going there. It was already big in Singapore, but not as big here. So just digital content production, how you can't just stick to one form of media, but expand as much as possible. Yeah, and that was like...
Opened your eyes, huh? So then the Josh came back.
The Josh came back, yeah.
The Josh came back, and you came back to Thimphu and then started going.
Yeah, then I started
dabbling.
focusing more on video productions and then seeing what we can do, what kind of storytelling ideas we can experiment with through video production. And 2012 nangachi magazine nabe travel content be bate.
Okay.
That's when we started Yee Getaway, but Yee Getaway was just a travel spread, travel section in Yeewong.
In the magazine.
Yeah. I remember that time hotels didn't even want us. They were like, that's what they literally said. And it was very difficult to get sponsorship or hotels to sponsor.
I'm sorry, are you talking about high upscale hotels?
No, not even high-end hotels. Like budget hotels also, they didn't really want domestic, because Yeewong was a domestic magazine. So they were like, oh, are you an international magazine? You know?
You can bluff it.
You can't do that. So that was like...
Fake it till you make it.
If the pandemic taught us anything, it was how important domestic tourism was, because all of
Isn't
those
that
budget
amazing?
hotels just went
Exactly. Isn't that amazing that, to see that transition for our own hotels and businesses to understand the power of domestic tourism. So I'm very happy to see that change.
What do
But
you-
speaking of Augie and Yeewong, with the whole magazine, you have physical copies, right, of those. Do you do a digital version as well?
Not yet. We're still working on a new website to create that sort of mechanism where we can sell digital copies. We've had inquiries from Bhutanese and Australia and the US, and we are
actually,
working on that. But right now, because we're sort of working in a very small team and weighing a lot of options.
Do you see more activity with your with the videos you all make, or
Yeah, definitely videos.
Because
Print is just once a year now.
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well,
It's not easy.
last year when you gave me the copy, that was the issue
That was
for
2020.
2020 issue.
Eh.
So once a year.
Wait a minute. No,
2021.
2021 gi mein.
So once a year.
2022.
I thought you do twice a year.
No,
Oh,
that
now it's
was
only
it.
once a year.
Because our digital platform takes a huge part of our time, and we do productions for clients as well. So documentaries, videos, social media content development, that takes a
Okay.
huge. And now with Yee Getaway, several times of the year, I'm hardly here.
So when you do Yee Getaway, is it like these places you stay at, they sponsor you just to come and talk about their
some.
stay?
Yeah,
or you
some.
just go and say, okay, this looks nice, can I just put it in my video?
Some.
Okay.
It works both ways.
Okay.
Like
Word of
recently
mouth
we
also
did
helps, I'm sure.
yeah, it does.
So-
Recently the homestay that we promoted, I don't take money, I don't take free stays from them. I think there's a huge need for local rural homestays to be promoted, because a lot of them are uneducated. They don't understand how social media works. So I try to tell them that you need to get your content out there. So we try to help. So simple walkthroughs, like, oh, there's a homestay in this part of the country, did you know? Per night it's just this much, and this is what the rooms look like. It's just a simple initiative from our side, but hopefully it can benefit them. So for homestays, I don't take free stays.
So it's a shout out video, basically.
Immense.
Shout out to
That's what you call it.
up Purba in Kaling with the homestay.
Yeah.
Somewhere in Kaling there is an Apurba. It's like,
I saw your video recently.
Just start a homestay.
I need to start a homestay now.
But you went to where? Radhi, where's that?
Radhi is in Tashikam, 30 minutes away.
But then the owner, I saw the video talking Kurtip with his
He
Kurtip.
turned out to be close to my village. See.
Ajim Kurtip now. Oh my god, this part 3 episodes in a row we bought Kurtips now.
Oh really?
Yeah, before we bought an artist, he was Kurtip, and then before
Then a
that, rapper who's Kurtip also. He raps in Kurtip. Norla also has a song called Kurte only with him, which is all Checha rap. So this is now the Kurtip part.
Very creative
I was
bunch.
like, when I was listening, I said, wait a minute, I think Ajim is Kurtip, she's speaking Kurtip.
I'm half boomed up, but my boomed up is not good.
Okay.
My dad's very unhappy about that.
Because if
My
you know
mother-
Bumtap, then you can know the other Kurtip Augemala. No?
Yeah. Hadikoba, I understand the language very well,
okay.
but Kalapni, it's a little difficult. My mother tongue is Chochangacha, so
Okay.
very fluent.
I also Hitchingacha, but I've lost a lot of. I mixed with Zonghai. It becomes a fusion.
Oh, really?
But then the languages need to be preserved. I think the main point of language is to communicate. So rather than struggle to like give the purity, you would rather want to communicate
Make
what
an
you're
effort also, no?
make an
Yeah.
effort. But at the same
That's why
time, you
a
need to
lot of the
communicate,
people we
exactly.
interview, whether it's the central or the east, we don't try to stick to Dzongkha, because, well, first of all, they're more comfortable in their own language, right? But the more languages we bring out through these social media platforms,
Yes.
I think we're also reminded that we live in such a diverse and rich
Yes.
culture. So it's always fascinating.
700,000 people, but so many different subcultures we have. No?
Yeah.
Languages,
And it's so fascinating when we find that out, like with each trip, with each project, that why Anzumya experience too, Anzumya place too, there are people with cultures like that. So bringing that out is what keeps us going, I guess.
What are your favorite places you've been to? Memorable place you can say, like, oh yeah.
Trekking or
Any like want you getaway trips.
trips. I think Ngadi Pritungla, that really.
Pritungla.
Yeah, the trek in Bumtang.
Bumtang.
We were the first ones to really document that trail after
Okay.
the Dzongkhak, and the Dzongkhak wanted to bring that out. And now we do have like a lot of tourists who are interested to book that spot now, that trail. And just seeing Mount Pola, because I don't know whether you guys saw the picture, but the Mount Pola mountain, like instantly when I saw it, it reminded me of Lord of the Rings, and It looks like a
Mount
giant
Turin.
fist coming out of the ground with the normal.
Oh, wow.
I don't know, that's how I saw it. I think different people see it
I
differently.
probably wouldn't see.
How do you spell that?
You won't
PHY.
see it, you'll probably have to go to Yeewong Bhutan.
Okay.
Oh, Mount Kela.
Some other
So
time.
that trail was very eye-opening.
How
It's a
long
two
did it
trail-
take?
It's a 2-day
2 day.
trek all the way
Okay.
up. But
What's the
just
fitness regiment like? Because I'm guessing at this point, the amount of treks and hikes you have to do,
people
you need to...
think I can walk, but to be honest, I can't. Because the thing is, I don't exercise when I get back here. I'm only active when I'm traveling.
So it's
And
just all of a
just-
sudden you just
Yeah.
body's in now.
So I'm just like any other walker, hiker, I guess, who's not really that
Or just
consistent.
occasionally.
Yeah, like before, before a trip, if I know that, okay, I need trekking before then I try to run and thing a little bit. But then, and plus it works because then I have to sort of document the pace according to any other walker. It can't be like, oh, I went there in 3 hours and then write that it's 3 hours, then it takes another person like 5 hours, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah. But the recent trek we did in Merak for walking towards Amjomo's mountain, that was pretty good too. Although it rained a lot though. But that was a different experience.
The last time I went hiking in the rain, I got my asthma attack.
Oh, where did you go?
We were walking up towards Pajuding, it started raining. I
I
was
think
like,
it's difficult, huh? Yeah. It's like this. The
yeah, it's like
person.
that. And then my friend Solly just looked at me. He said, "We have to go back down. Kim is gonna die." I was like, can't breathe. Come back.
You didn't have your inhaler.
I had my inhaler. It just didn't help. Like I was.
You are not climate.
up.
What's called acclimated? I think maybe I remember now.
Acclimatize.
Oh no, I do a lot of walking.
Especially Thimphu is such high. In general, it's very high.
No, with me it's my asthma. Like it just
okay.
triggered very.
But then people, especially when they go out, it's very common. 1/3 of people always have like lightheadedness and
Yeah,
all.
we got so scared like when we went to Lunana because we flew there. So we didn't take that slow transition towards Lunana's altitude. That's
So
like
that-
4,900 meters. So we were, but nothing happened. Touch wood. Thank God. They actually say that you have to take Viagra.
What?
Yeah.
Viagra. In females as well.
To fight altitude sickness because apparently dilates your bloodstream or something. Yeah.
What happens when a woman takes Viagra then?
Huh?
It helps you with altitude sickness. That's all.
No, but I'm saying without. How does it help them? How does it work now? It brings the testosterone levels up.
No.
What's happening
what he was
is
saying.
with Viagra, what you're doing is
Blood circulation and help you
so it opens up your blood vessels.
Makes all the blood vessels
So
open
means
and
you
go
get,
down there.
No, but then for a lot of the time what would happen is means that you're getting more oxygen to your brain because your blood vessels are opening up. So the higher level of blood oxygen levels.
I didn't have to take
They
that.
sell Viagra in Bhutan.
Huh?
They sell Viagra in Bhutan.
Yeah,
Why are you so interested?
I'm just
in
wondering.
that?
I didn't
That's
know.
I
I'm
think
not
have
sure
a
if
weird-
you can get it like
But Kine
over the
hesitated.
counter.
He knows what I heard he's talking
It's
about.
like,
I'm a happy boy.
let's stick to altitude sickness, ladu as they call it.
Yes.
Laduya.
Well, I didn't have to take it. Cordyceps, cordyceps chi is it'll help still up there. But then surprisingly, we didn't get sick. So, in fact, the next day itself, we went towards the lake also. I was like,
I've
okay.
never been to Lunana. I would love to go, but I'd probably be dead halfway up because I know my asthma will kick in at that point. I'd really
love to
go
walk to Lunana. Yeah, it's a 10-day trek.
You've been there, Ajay?
I've been there,
Okay.
but the thing is, we flew there.
Oh,
So the fear of altitude sickness just hitting you was
so
more
by helicopter.
Yeah.
So how long? It must be a short trip, 5 minutes?
No, yeah.
15 minutes?
1.5 hours.
Wow, from where to
I'm
where?
not really 100% chase. No, my memory is really
From
bad.
where to
So you
where?
were affected by the altitude sickness.
No, my memory is so
It's
bad.
like, oh, there's rich people problems in helicopter, forgetting shit.
Very nice though. It's not like that. But yeah, I think 1.5 hours.
Let's
More
average
than
it
2
to like
hours.
45 minutes.
No, it's definitely not 45 minutes. But yeah, we flew there. But
Is it 1.5
next time I'd
hours
love
if
to think.
if the plane is the helicopter is
Visit.
piloted by an average?
I have no idea.
Like if it's an expert, it's like 20 minutes, but if it's like an average Bhutanese, it's like a 1.5
But
hour.
I remember the expert was like, the pilot, he was like, okay, these are the mountains over which you see this village in Lunana. And he's saying that to a Bhutanese. And then
he's Chilipot.
He's Chilip.
Oh, but he's learned the script.
He's gone there like for so many times, but I was just finding it so funny and ironic. And we are supposed to know, right?
No, he should be knowing better. He's been there more than us there.
No, just the visual of it was very funny. That
it's
Chilip
weird
is
to see
busy.
Just irony in you just have to take out your deludedness.
But don't you think that's what's been happening for the longest time? We always have these Chilip videographers or filmmakers who come here and teach the rest of the world about Bhutan, when we should be doing that. And now with social media, you have this wonderful opportunity, and you just need to be a little more curious to know more, because we don't. Truly, we don't.
Yeah, maybe in that aspect. But whenever we see like these Chilips and come to Bhutan and then they make their videos, vlogs about how Bhutan is, it's portrayed in their perspective.
It's a mix.
No.
It's a mix.
And their perspective is depending on how their itineraries.
And sometimes the format works because the audience is Chilip also.
You relate with them more.
Yeah.
While Manchester Style is like, that is Bhutan, but that's like maybe like 1/3 of the way you see Bhutan.
Definitely. That's why maximum amount of the time, it's always Tiger's Nest. There's nothing beyond that in Bhutan.
And we think we live in the Dzong and the mountains, and we all have saffron robes.
I remember I got one message where somebody was asking, do you have coffee in Bhutan? Do you get, not even Starbucks or anything, just coffee thopga city.
Like instant coffee will do.
Well, my friend used to tell me when I was in college, Bhutan, did you go to school by horse? But of course he was
that's a fantastical idea, Jimmy.
He was Iranian. I said, you went by camel?
When I was in college, somebody asked me, do you have Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi.
In college, and I'm like, yes, if I didn't have Wi-Fi, I probably would not be in India now, would I? What's wrong with you? We don't swing around trees. But speaking of the whole like videographers, like the foreigners coming in and then showing Bhutan from their point of view, there was this. I was actually it kind of goes back to that conversation I was having with one of my friends who's an anthropology professor, and we were talking about.
Shout out to Dr. Sharon Nollins.
Not
him. Okay, you have more than one anthropologist friend.
I have infiltrated the RTC anthropology department, alright. No, but we were talking about what makes an experience authentic, and a lot of the time, the one you were talking with the videographer, it sounded like so. There's this. A lot of the time, I think foreigners deem something as an authentic experience based not on the people who live there, but more on how they've experienced it. Whereas there's the other way, which is we would not consider it it's more authentic because for us we've lived here, so we've this is an authentic experience to us. But whereas with the foreign videographers who have to follow a strict itinerary and go where the guides take them, to them that is an authentic experience, but it's an authentic experience based on their personal experience.
Subjective.
And that's how their viewers are able to connect with that.
Yes.
Because for us it's normal, like it's part of
it's
the
looking
TV.
inwards, while as outside is the man looking in.
But the surprising thing is we end up feeling like an outsider when you go outside of Thimphu. And what I mean by that is there are often times when we go to places where it's supposed to be something that we should be familiar with, but we're not. There's so much about local culture, how people live, our history that we don't know about, and we end up sort of taking that place of that Chilip who's come here for the first time, and that experience becomes authentic as well.
But like recently, last year, this year, I went on office tour job. I went to a few gigs here and there, so you get to see like, we're just in a little bubble in Thimphu, like bucks. We just don't know what's really going on inside. But it's very like I don't think there's much vast difference with all the other cultures, at least in Bhutan, I think. Not a personal experience, but maybe I didn't go like Ajumzumbe depths like Merak, Lo.
I wrote a small thing
blog
in a post. The blog's here, and just in line with what you said right now, because I remember him. Someone said, "You slip hata jodi kuminona." And I took it by heart because first of all I am from the east, but then I've done a lot of work out there as well. But like the minute you leave Thimphu, whether you're crossing Wangdi or Tongsa and entering into Mongar or Tashiangzi, Linzi, Tashikam, each experience is different. If you're just going to sleep on it when you're traveling, then it will be the same. But if you start noticing things like how when you cross Senghor and you reach Namling Cliff and you descend into the valley of Tidangbi, from the language to how people dress to what you see on the roadside and to how the churtans change also. It's totally different. All you have to do is just make a little effort to see beyond what you think
The
Bhutan
surface,
is.
yeah.
And, so it's not the same.
Thank you for
So go to the east.
for Kishla. What was the word? For proving me into an ignorant and this I don't know what was the word.
No, we all think that way. That you go to one village, it's the same, but it's not. Yeah.
I do love the drive from Thimphu to Pem C when you go via the Tashigam highway. Like,
So do you go from Gelephu?
I wouldn't know the roads probably, but no, you would go from here. You go via Bumthang Mongar, then you go towards then you
and
descend.
there's a scary cliff there, no?
Oh, I don't remember.
You don't know.
Everything is scary for him.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a rock. I don't know. It could be a cliff.
No, but then like I agree. Like my mom and my mom is somebody who actually like stays awake throughout the journey, and she just like looks out, and she like said, not much use for me because I'm not seeing Jack. But I love going to Pem C so much because it's not Thimphu. It is definitely you kind of see it as your own country, but you see it again as two countries completely separated.
So true. That is so true.
Because as a like when I go there, my shashuk isn't that great. I can a little smattering here, a little bit of slathering there, but when I'm in Pem C, it's sort of like wow, like I would not survive a day here. Like these are people
but you
who
will surprise yourself if you spend more time there.
Yeah, it's sort of. But at the same time, there is this thing with my family in Pem C where everyone in the community, because it's not like your family is not just your family. It's this entire community of houses that are nearby. Everyone shares their meals together. Everyone spends time together, and it got to a point where like random people from the villages would just come over and they just like sit and talk to me, and it's like, and then I'm like, and in my head I'm like, who are you?
Well, that's the culture.
And why did you bring eggs and alcohol?
Exactly, like why did you bring alcohol? And my dad's like, he's your grandmother's cousin something thing, and I'm like,
okay.
What do I do, Dad? And I was like, just talk to them. You don't have to do anything. Just talk to them. It's like, okay. And but then it's a different vibe altogether in the East. And sadly I've never been to my mother's side, which is in Jemgang, but I would love to go there as well once.
You love Jemgang.
Yeah, I want to go see our ancestral home, the
I think,
white and black house.
Like what you were talking about when you said, how community really comes together when you go to these places. I really miss that because I didn't grow up in Thimphu. I grew up in Sarpang and I grew up in Tashigang. Although these are not exactly rural places, these are still Dzongkhap towns, right?
Yeah.
We still had a strong sense of community bonding there.
True.
Like almost every
Sorry.
holy day or any event, all the fathers would come together for an archery match and mothers would prepare lunch.
And it wasn't an archery match unless someone got drunk and got
Patriarchy.
and got like an arrow through her hand or something.
You know what happened? My dad actually shot an arrow and it went in between somebody's chappal and his feet.
Really?
Perfectly in between.
Like
yeah.
And I saw it.
Like
and you see,
swew.
it didn't even hit the person, no? It didn't even scratch him.
Wow.
Just the chappal and his foot.
He's wasted all his luck in life now. Whatever he does from here on is finished.
No, but going to the community thing, I agree, because when my grandparents from my dad's side, when they passed away, nobody in the family had to do anything, because you did, but there was like everybody from the community, that all the houses nearby just show up, and they're like, you as the family, you grieve, you sit with the row, and then we will handle everything, and then somebody's like making tea, somebody's going to do the shopping, somebody's making sure that everyone's getting fed, and then at the same time, one of our neighbors, when my grandmother passed away and we were doing the rituals and stuff, one of our neighbors, her grandmother passed away, and the community split in half, and then they were like, okay, this many of you go to that household, this many of us will go to this household, and then again within that they're breaking themselves up. They're like, okay, there's the morning duty and there's the night duty, and I was like, you will not see this in Thimphu.
No, I think
Bhutan is.
Bhutanese in general are very, what do you call, community based. No? We want to help each other out. No?
Yeah.
Like the best way example I always tell people is when I was living in Japan, all Japanese and all the Chinese and the Nepali people, when they go in the smoking room, they'll all be like smoking one cigarette. The Nepalis will talk to each other, smoke all cigarettes, okay? The Chinese will also understand, the Vietnamese will all do the same. The Japanese will be in the corner, own business phone, Bhutanese will be there, one circle, 5 people, 2 cigarettes. We will share. And we will share. So that's why I say.
The Chinese
So
call
this
kata
is no. This is just how they live their life now. They're very individualistic. But Nepalese are okay now. They're all in their own thing. Bhutanese are like don't share. No, I'll share mine. So it's, I feel like this is how Bhutanese are. No, we're very share. It's very common like to take a cigarette and share, or whether we eat food. That's done. Whereas if you some other person, they're like, what the hell are these people doing? Don't they find this gross, a little like weird? And that's why I feel like at least Buddhists in their root, Ratulera, I think we're very community based.
There is a harmony there, because I recently I wrote an article for Tashdalek, which hasn't been published yet, but it's about the food culture in Bhutan and how I do not believe that as a tourist, if you go to the bigger like 3-star hotels and restaurants, you're not technically getting that authentic Bhutanese dining experience.
That's true.
Because the truest is going to the local restaurants where during office hours everyone's like jammed in, everyone's talking with each other, people are just passing food from one table to the other, and I think that community is sort of lacking. And yes, that community thing is not so prevalent in Thimphu and the more urban areas, but it is still there. Whereas in the east and the rural parts, it's like very, like it's just you see it immediately. And if I see it, it's there.
If you see it, it's there. Quote it. If Kinley sees it, it's there.
But that idea of what guests will enjoy, I remember when we went to Jure village, Beam village, when we were coming back from Brigdungla, and we were talking about how tourism can really benefit the community. They have a different idea of what guests want. They think
the
that
community people.
They think that if we introduce ecotourism, tourism in our community, that means we'll have to, replace our traditional houses with buildings so that guests can stay there. Then we'll have to cook different kinds of food. But then I was like, no, guests want that authentic experience that you're talking about.
Exactly.
They want to stay. Now there are different types of tourists as well. There are those who want
luxury,
a taste of Bhutan. Excuse me, but they want it in high-end restaurants. They don't want to go to these small restaurants
because they're used to a certain lifestyle.
But it's good to see that a huge number of guests who come here at least want the authentic experience that you're talking about. So we were trying to communicate that you don't have to. You keep your traditional house. Just make sure the bed's clean, the bed sheets clean, and then the toilet's clean.
The toilet.
The toilet is very.
You probably want to remove that squatty potty and put in a Western
but the
style.
squatty potty is very
It's
healthy for
healthier.
you.
Exactly.
I never knew it was called a squatty potty. I
Because
called
of squatting.
I thought it was latrine.
Latrine is more general, no?
General name. So
It's like lavatory.
But actually, that's the correct posture to take a dump. To keep your legs like that. I think it's good for the body.
So that would be an authentic.
That will be an authentic pooping experience. And if you go to India, authentic pooping experience, you go to the ocean then.
Or train tracks.
Train tracks. Train tracks is a popular spot. I didn't know it was a popular
Train
spot.
tracks.
I saw this on village. I know a beach somewhere in India. For it's called the pooping beach. All the local bandhus or whoever they work.
Oh my God.
They wake up in the morning. They squat and they just meet their friends and like wave in the morning. And they all take dumps in that like.
Oh, so the ocean cleans it for them.
Apparently,
that
I
is
hope
a
so.
joke, not the heights of laziness is shitting on the beach and waiting for the wave to wipe your ass.
But you want to be
Makes sense,
salty.
though.
Want to be salty.
I don't think you're tasting with your butthole. What's wrong with your butthole, side?
Your butthole will be sensitive, and then the salt, the high level of salt might sting your bumhole.
If anything, that's like disinfectant. Like,
Salt, yeah.
high levels of salt is actually...
I think alcohol is disinfectant, not
salt.
Huh?
Salt as well.
Okay, how about you dip your ass in the salt? Let's see how it feels.
You can always wash it with fresh water.
Okay.
Nice how you pivoted.
How did we
from-
get? Yeah, how did we get to
This
the
is
thing?
how-
We don't know. This is how the pod works.
homestays. This
Yeah,
too?
exactly. Yes.
They need to have like at least latrines that guests can use. So as long as Anyara you're watching, and then you serve authentic Bhutanese food, right? That's the best. That's the best tourism, community that you can create, and it can really help local communities as well. So that's why we try our best to promote homestays and then show people whether it's international or domestic. That see, you go to these places, there are homestays like that as well.
I recently went to Pem Cee, homestay. I stayed there. But the homestay.
Oh, you stayed at a homestay, huh, sir?
Pumchika's turned into a massive now tourism thing.
It's very like they're all like they know how to be hospitable. They're very, I think, accustomed to it. The roads also are pleasant. The valley, of course, very beautiful to drive past. And then the homestay also, the people who are the owners are very good. They know how to do it. Food also damn good also, very authentic, actually authentic. They're actually making very
I went to a few years before the pandemic, actually 2019. I went to Pupchika with my then girlfriend, and we stayed at one homestay. I was telling, I'll never forget. As soon as I entered the living room, I was like, I am not used to seeing a living room without chairs. It's just all mats and there's like a Bukhari right.
But Kinley, you're not used to seeing in general.
Shut up. True. No, but then that's the thing, because when I was growing up, I lived in Wangdi, and when in the late 90s and early 2000s, Wangdi wasn't what it was
right now.
What it is right now. And even our own homes in Gelephu, and of course in Gelephu nobody has a Bukhari, but like Pemagats and stuff, we used to all sit around in the kitchen on the floor around the top.
Yes.
Yeah.
But now we don't do that anymore, and just to go to Pupchika and to see that again, it was like
nostalgic.
Yeah, it's like just sitting there talking with the window open, and there's a bangchung of zao there, and then the food's obviously really great. And then we went down into the valley, and I made jokes about eating the crane there. The one
to
crane,
a local?
Yeah, no, to my wife. She hit me. I was like, look at that crane. It's the Karma the crane by himself.
You wanted to eat Karma?
Karma the crane was there since back then, yeah.
2019, yeah.
2019. 2014
That's what I'm saying. My God, he's been around. He's been around for a while.
He's been alone, but now he.
No, he's Charo. He had a friend. No, now he's a friend.
No,
we went and shot Pupchika in 2014. That was our first.
How many victims?
Travelogue.
I'm sorry.
Gangdi Central School has never been the same. Has never been the same, man. After what Yee Getaway.
No, but then we were there, and then they've got that area where you can look through the window.
And scout the little kids coming out.
Yeah, exactly. And then my wife said, "Kinley, you want to see?" I was like, "Nope, no point."
You want to see? Yes, please. Yes, I really would love that.
And then we went and then we were looking at Karma, and then everyone's like, so Pem Cee, he's all by himself, and his only friend is a mirror. No, there was a mirror, and
they put a mirror.
Yeah, his friend is literally it's a mirror, and that it's himself.
No, but apparently the sight of another bird actually helps dealing with that stress of being alone.
Maybe
next time you should look in the mirrors.
Their brain, of course, is smaller, so they might assume that's my friend.
Still bigger than yours.
No, this is actually literally why they call bird brain, because literally their brain is so small.
That's why mirror chitsu I used to love that.
So maybe your companionship Wilson.
Everyone's looking at Karma, and everyone's like, Pam, man, all I can think, I was telling my wife, I was like, I wonder how it tastes. She just turned and whack. What? All I said was, how does a crane taste? I didn't say, let's eat the thing.
But it's quite interesting how Pupchika has turned into one of the most popular tourism destinations.
For local terrorists as well.
Local terrorists.
Local terrorists, like Yeegetaway.
Who goes randomly and shoots birds. No, because Pupchika has a combination of both, not just both, high-end homestays
Stays.
and a combination of unique stays like a valley camp,
Farm stays.
So what kind of traveler are you? Would you prefer staying in a place like Six Sense or Amankwara, or would you like a homestay or
So
camping?
variety of options for the
Yeah.
tourists. Right?
Exactly. And the thing is, people only stay in the core area. Like Pobjika has this one stretch, right?
Yeah.
Near the grain center.
Yeah.
But you have to go beyond that. There's another community way beyond. There's a Anim Gitasang as well. And
Did you
when
shoot
we
there?
went, yeah, we went. We didn't shoot birds. We shot people.
We shot nuns specifically.
But they.
Sorry, go on. This is going to keep happening, so you just have to push past it.
Yeah. Okay. So we went to one of the homestays there. They gave us ngaja dati.
Ngaja datsi.
Wait,
What's ngaja datsi now?
it's tea and cheese.
I've watched a few, but I've not watched the ngaja datsi episode.
Okay.
I'll be honest.
Apparently, it's quite popular in the western region. They serve tea and they serve fresh dasi, sliced.
Oh,
Ooh.
And you have to mix it together and eat.
I've had
quite
that.
A
fancy,
quiet taste, I must say, but interesting.
Ah.
Damn mallops.
Only until like last year I realized the Losargi delicacy or dessert that chogo with ma.
Chugumagi, yeah.
Oh.
Chugumagi.
Oh, I didn't know there was a thing yet.
It's a Western Highland ki combination mein. Like Hana jo that they served that.
So I think this is like Bhutan's not only, but I think our
Yes.
authentic desserts in German.
Best way to get diabetes instantly.
Dried cheese with
Dried cheese with
high
so much butter and
sugar also.
Sugar. Yeah, I've
But
had
DC also is like that also, no?
Sugar me man.
Yeah,
The sweet
JC
daisy.
is.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
unless you're talking about shamde.
Shamde.
Yeah, Shamde
Shamde
is
chini
the
mi
more
was there?
savory
No,
one.
shamde is the savory dish.
Shamde
Oh.
is the savory daisy.
And that's
then
much
you
better
have
than
the other
desi
one.
any day.
Yeah.
I love a
but-
good shamde.
My God, when you're tired, you can eat, huh? Devata?
I can't.
Yeah, lama chugumagi we ate there when we went to the Highlanders ki ani nomad ki hatra duise, and then they make you fresh with yak cheese she made. So imagine.
So it was not even
Got
shown,
energy
like,
back
it's
there.
Like,
Then
that's
we
the
can
only
walk.
memo. Wow.
But then the thing is, for them, that sort of a diet
Is
makes sense because
necessary,
firstly
yeah.
they're in colder regions and
Yeah.
also they have an active lifestyle.
Yeah.
They can burn that. Like
But
Yeah.
sugar
if
is
we
Not us.
energy, no, we are.
You need
No.
for energy, no?
Yeah, yeah.
No, you need
Yeah.
to go and use for energy.
Last time when we went to Amjomogi mountain, we stayed in Anupjansa, no? So all of us slept together, no? And that evening, no? And pilo zumbezo jinse. Like a lot of tatsi, a lot. It was so yummy. So I ate a lot. I was tired also.
Okay.
Yeah, lama 3 in the morning I had to go to the bathroom, and there's no bathroom, no? It's pangtang.
Pangtang.
So you go there.
So you felt what the Bandus are doing in the ocean. You what's the word? You accumulated.
The moon came out early. Let's say it that way.
Yes, you had no choice.
It was a unpleasant visit to the town.
I would say it was a unique
Unique.
experience. It was raining also.
Oh.
And then the local
Very nice.
yak herder said, "Oh, madam, nati be me am jomo churuto oni lo melo."
Oh, the spooky,
wipe your ass.
spooky.
To wipe your ass. I'm almost like his toilet paper. I keep a stock.
3 in the morning.
Madam talking.
3 in the morning. Yeah.
Oh.
So don't eat too much dairy when you're traveling, and you're not too used to their
Yeah. Me
you know.
also.
Yeah,
I'm slightly lactose, so I always confuse.
Oh shoot.
That's sad. If
Like,
if you're
no,
If
no,
you have any
if-
sort of allergy or thing, I think this would be quite sad if you were traveling.
yeah. But then I think one thing,
Or if you're vegetarian.
yeah, I mean if you're going towards places where you don't necessarily get a vegetarian option.
Yeah, there's no a la carte menu when you
Yeah.
go to these
Imagine if
places.
you're vegan. You're
God.
starving. You're just starving. You are the yak. You are eating that grass.
to be vegan, especially in Bhutan, must be some task more.
No, but I heard there are a lot of options.
No, now there are options, but
No.
I don't know about other parts of
No,
the
like-
country. It's only I think more of the urban
No,
areas.
it's not.
Yeah.
It's not convenient. As in, like, I think basically you have to cook everything because you cannot go to a restaurant and find completely vegan food. No, you have to compromise certain areas.
But there
You
are
just hate
people
good
who,
food if you're a vegan.
No, but there are people who don't enjoy going to restaurants also.
So yeah, they can.
Food
They,
is
yeah,
like,
they
you
can.
know.
They can what you call live a vegan diet.
The same way how people can commit to working out in the gym consistently, and we're like, oh, how do you do it? I think
Effort,
diet is also like
Yeah.
it's an effort that you make, and the result is I think it's good also.
Okay.
But going back to you saying you're slightly lactose, and you saying that you shouldn't eat a dairy. No, but then like our diet is just meant to ruin your gastrointestinal system. If it's not cheese, it's chili.
50% of Bhutanese have H. pylori there. That's a number, statistic number. 50%. And if you're between age 20 to 40, 60 to 70.
By the way, did you all get your H. pylori test?
I already got H. pylori when I was.
No, I got it too. I took the meds.
But recently I didn't check. I might still have it.
I found it really funny because the way I got checked for H. pylori was endoscopy. And then they were saying that there's a mass H. pylori testing thing going on. And my head was like, how are they doing that? Like, how are they doing endoscopy for that many people? Is it just like everyone stands in a line and everyone gets it through the mouth and out the ass, then through the other one's mouth?
Ew!
Human centipede scenario.
Then later on it was like, everyone's just coming with like a spoonful of the shit.
But I like how you think like the wire goes in a straight line from the mouth to the ass. Like it doesn't go through like.
No, that's making the conversation shorter. if you really want to talk about the GI system.
And the task short.
But now they're doing with stool, mass testing. So they found out that Bhutanese people like 50% have a lot of H. pylori. But basically, if you having very like intense stomach ache and your stool is not in a normal way, then you have H. pylori. My friend.
What is not normal?
If it's not in a tube,
inconsistent.
If it's in balls and if it's dark in color, then you should probably go to the hospital.
Or you're a goat.
If you're or you're a goat. So healthy poop is when you like take a dump and it's like long strands.
It looks like a banana.
And when you wipe your bum, it's almost clean.
No, I heard it on Oprah.
No, I'm not saying any. I was saying, why would you say take a dump?
Look at your stool, people.
You leave a dump. You don't take a dump.
Little boys and girls,
why are you
look at your stool.
dumps?
Okay, if your stool is in balls and it's black, please go to the Minka. Okay, if you're either a goat or you're having serious
I did
problems.
not imagine I would have this conversation when I came here. When I signed up for this, by the way.
You clearly did not watch our podcast and do your research.
Uno reverse card.
I watched one with Sush.
Look at how the turntables have turntables around.
How the turns have tabled.
Okay.
Mappa. This is how our podcast goes. We have a timeline and then we stream into multiple different universes.
Dimensions.
So it's like also a mindfulness practice to follow your thought. Where it goes from
spontaneous
camping in Pubjika to talking about shit in the ocean. Shit sizes.
But I would love to travel within Bhutan. I mean, I recently went to. In the last 2 years, I have not left. Not 2 years. Since September of last year, I have not left Thimphu. And recently was when I went to Tsirang with my wife. My body just did not react well because it's become so used to Thimphu. As soon as I got there, I just broke out into a heat rash. I had an unnecessary rash.
Had rosacea.
Yeah, I had rosacea. That's a joke between me and
we have no idea.
I don't have it anymore.
Sure. But then we went to Punakha and I'm kind of glad that I got to travel, but now I really want to look at more stuff. I probably want to go back to Gelephu for a while. Then I want to go to Wangdi.
When was the last time you went to Gelephu?
2 years ago.
2 years.
The end of 2019. I have not been there since
That's
then.
not so bad. The last time I visited Gelephu, I think several years ago, and then we had just come back from Gelephu. We went from Tashigang to Gyalpushing to Nganglam to Gelephu to Sarpang, and then that's how we got back. And my God, Gelephu's changed. It's transformed into this huge commercial hub.
I think it can be.
I think
it can be bigger than Pinchling. I think.
I think so.
For sure.
I think so.
Because the land is flat.
I lived in Sarpang for 6 years.
Okay.
So my Sarpang and Gelephu. I mean, Sarpang hasn't changed.
No, Gelephu is the.
Sarpang.
How do you describe Sarpang?
Sarpang is like Chuka. Pinchling is like Gelephu. No, remember.
Oh my God. I mean, it's supposed to be looked at like that. But
Chuka's bigger than Sarpang.
Sarpang is it's you know how they have these townscape model in a snow globe? Sarpang's like that. But on top of this flat surface, on top of a mountain.
It's a plateau.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's Sarpang's basically like if it had a welcome sign, it would be welcome to Sarpang, and right 2 minutes later, thank you for visiting Sarpang.
Exactly.
That's what Sarpang is.
And the best thing is it hasn't changed.
Yeah.
I mean, they just changed the school and they're constructing a new zone, but the Sarpang Tower, that I grew up in, it hasn't changed at all, and that's the best part of it.
Well, actually, more people used to go towards the gate. You know where the check post used to be, and there used to be a town there, which now doesn't exist because a flood just.
Not one flood.
Yeah. No, but then I was like.
After the first flood, they decided to have the town there again.
Yeah.
And it took the second flood
like,
for people to understand.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, bye town.
Oh, yeah.
Gelephu.
But the whole road stretch between Gelephu and Sarpang used to be this. There's
Ari.
the trees and Ari and small like villages.
Like one-storied houses on the sides.
Now it's like a huge stretch of towns connecting the stretch between Sarpang and Gelephu.
Yeah, like the
it's still nice.
Bur and all those areas, they've just like popped up.
Yeah,
like,
there
there
are
are a lot
new
of
bridges.
houses.
But I must say, like, if you want to experience a different kind of Bhutan, like in the south, you have to go to Gelephu and Sarpang.
Yeah, I've been there twice.
It's something.
Especially
fresh,
during
it's
the
different.
winter.
Oh.
You can just take a t-shirt and hop in.
And the
Yeah.
fashion is the same. Like any hot place you go to, that's what we were talking about. You go to Gelpushing, you go to Nganglam area.
Everyone wears dressed the same way.
Men and women dress the same way.
Yeah.
Loose t-shirt and
Shorts.
and then a palm leaf for an umbrella.
And then there's one crazy person who's wearing jeans. And you're like, why are you wearing jeans?
I'll give you an interesting story. When I went to Gelephu the first time, I went for a workshop teaching the kids about all this different types of art thing. So I was teaching photography and little video. And then there was some few Indians who came from Kerala, Gelephu only, who came from India. They came from Kerala, so they came to teach dance. So me and all the guys who came from Thimphu wearing t-shirt, enjoying the weather, and they were having the hardest time. Literally, wearing the puffer jacket, and they got a gun. What do you call it?
It was really cold for them.
And they were like, because we were chilling outside, Kerala.
So
we were
that heat and humidity to come to Gelephu.
We were just chilling, and then outside when we were
in winter.
Yeah. So it was like 25. Maybe at night it'd be like 20, 18 Muamji. They were having the hardest time. Like, they didn't want to feel outside of the group, so they were outside with us. No, but then when we were drinking, they were like, yes. Literally shivering here. I was like, my God, that's how.
Are you sure they were
morning is.
dancing?
Huh?
Are you sure they were just dancing?
Very cold.
Turn the light bulb.
They were literally having Saturday. After within 2 days.
That's my dance.
2 days they got Saturday.
Wow.
Yeah, but then you could just tell the difference about how they experience heat and all.
But
but we react the same way when we go to Delhi in the peak of summer.
yes, we die.
Yeah, Lama.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
It felt like, okay, Garina Chipsome, there's no AC in the car. Then you roll down the windows, it literally feels like
Hell.
10 blow heaters are right next to your face.
I mean, I used to think that I couldn't, like, my vision was bad, but in Delhi I'm blind. The amount of smog is just like, can't see shit.
But Delhi also in winter is extreme cold as well.
No, because Delhi is one of the few places in India where people die of the heat as well as the cold.
So in Japan also the same, Tokyo area.
Yeah.
It gets really hot in the summer and it gets really cold in the winter also.
Apparently people take like 2 changes of
It snows. So like winter time now I'm going to work, snowstorm. Summertime now heat wave. Like literally like 40 degrees, humidity. You can taste the air. You can taste whatever everyone's breathing now, so you can taste it. So I used to work in the freezer. So when I used to go from outside, it was like 40 degree. Then I'll go into a cooling room. So it'll be like 20 degrees. So once the door opens, you can feel the air shift like boom. Then you go to the freezer, so it goes again negative. So when I come out from the freezer and go home, it's like I went through 4 seasons at once.
Is it bad for you though?
Yeah, that's how you get pneumonia.
To expose yourself to like.
But for some reason, when I was consistently doing it, then my body, I was the fittest in my life. Yeah. No problem. I ate all the worst kinds, but I had no problems with body.
But you're so lucky you got to work there. I feel the working culture, I'm not sure whether you'd want to do that for like a very long time, but I feel we really need to expose ourselves to that kind of discipline.
Yeah.
I wish I had that when I was
Part-time,
younger.
yes. I went for the experience
and
also.
not just in terms of work, but in just terms of social responsibility. How to keep your thing, like school students clean their own toilets or crying out loud.
How to manage your money, your time, be disciplined to go to work on time and do a good job.
That.
Use that money, not only just on the work.
And then don't be a pain in the ass and be a burden on people. When that happens, just go into the forest and. I mean, that's
you want to be Logan Paul now, huh?
Sorry.
going there.
No, but then now with the whole like climate change issue, Gelephu actually is getting really cold during the winters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got a cold in Gelephu in the winter in 2019. I actually like runny nose,
But
fever, and even my cousins nowadays when they're saying like in the winter they have to wear like some of them have to wear jackets.
But the summers are even.
But
getting
it's
Summers
like-
are worse. I
look
guess,
at
like-
Thimphu right now. Look how hot it is.
Exactly, Thimphu's
My
like
God.
it's piping hot.
I haven't worn pants outside for like 3 weeks now. It's so hot.
They're just walking around buck naked.
Kinde. Right now, you can't see me. You don't need to expose me.
Okay.
I wish you wouldn't expose yourself. I've got like a full-on view of what's happening.
Okay, but before we stray into things, I think we're getting a little bit
Yeah.
too delved. I want to ask Ajim also because she's not only what you call a CEO of our organization, but she's also like one of the few female entrepreneurs. Would you say?
I would say that a few years ago,
Few years
but
ago, you're more
now
entrepreneur.
because the multimedia is more of a part of a conglomerate, I just see myself as a speck there, and not really, you know.
But you did start this thing
Yeah.
of your own.
But speaking of entrepreneurship, like I don't know about. I don't know whether you guys know about this whole entrepreneurship wave.
That's what I'm saying. The wave is coming, so I think this would be a good topic to
but
dive
it was
in.
there like a few years ago.
Yeah.
And what you see out there, like who's an entrepreneur? Somebody's an entrepreneur. Somebody's talking about entrepreneurship, right?
Yes.
I was part of that as well.
Oh, you were part of that group,
yeah,
that
yeah. But then
Renaissance.
I wouldn't call it that, but we were invited to like different, schools and colleges
To talk
and,
about this and
groups
that,
to talk about entrepreneurship.
Okay.
And then I was there also like giving my, and then
Take.
like I realized I don't know shit about entrepreneurship. I don't know much about
But I think that's a good spot.
why am I coming here and then acting as if I know so much,
Yeah.
to women entrepreneurs and giving them advice on when I didn't know shit about what I was doing. We didn't even know what entrepreneurship really stood for. And the ones who are still continuing, I feel, are the ones who are the big guns, who really understand. And the thing is, people feel it's so much about like just business, and you start any business, you're an entrepreneur. It's not. I feel there've been a few people from that group that I personally know who really understand what it takes to come up with ideas and to implement that.
You need to earn that label.
Exactly, you have to earn that label.
Yes.
Just because you have a business and you're doing it single-handedly does not make you an entrepreneur. And I realized that, so I just decided to take a step back and then, look at myself, look at where my work is. I realized I don't really look at business the same way a lot of people do. I should. I should look at money a little differently, but I realize I'm more driven by my own personal passion.
Rather than the monetary returns.
Yeah, but I know it sounds a little cliche.
Yeah, it is cliche, but I think that's the good thing, no?
No, but
If
I get a
you
lot of
pursue
I get a
in
lot
that
of
perspective.
soda for that also, because that also makes you make a lot of poor decisions with money. And I feel anybody who wants to start something like that, start something like this, you have to be smart with money also. Like, okay, you're interested, you're passionate. And when we did the entrepreneurship issue, the whole team was based on that.
Yes.
My focus was more on bringing out the stories of people who had worked hard and followed their dreams. And that line is just so old and cliche, as I was saying.
Okay.
That's not the be all end all. You have to work hard, and you have to know your money, and you have to make smart decisions.
And you have to take risks.
And you have to take risks also, but also be smart with your risks.
Risks, yeah.
Calculated
I'm
risk.
just calculate and I learned that. I'm still learning that.
Of course. But I think that's a good way, you're seeing yourself that you don't know shit. And that's when you reach your maturity and you know that I need to learn more in order to like get what I want to achieve. Whereas most people, when they start, they say, oh, I already know what to do. I just need to get it done.
I just watched a few videos from Gary Vee and I know how to do now.
Like, oh,
Honey, with you.
we have a lot of entrepreneurs. I've met so many entrepreneurs, but then like what they say in rule of thumb is 1/3 of entrepreneurs will fail over them. So that's
And it's
that's
okay
a
to
given.
fail.
It's okay to fail.
I think it's more
But they need
important
to-
how do you deal with
We
it.
need to know that
That's very
failure is inevitable. It's not a option. It is inevitable, and you have to like.
And now with
go
social
through it.
media, it's even more difficult because there's this pressure to look successful all the time. Even if you come up, it doesn't have to be a business.
I'm
You
in
can
debt,
make every
but
idea.
hey.
Flexing culture there. Flexing
Honestly.
culture.
So I think young people find it more difficult to fail because of this. You fail to look a certain way. You fail to be a certain person. You fail to have something.
You fail to meet people's expectations.
Honestly. So that pressure, like I think we need to be a little more accepting when it comes to these things. And more than getting validation from others, you need to accept yourself. So...
Okay, Ajim, another question. So, like, let's just dive a little bit more into entrepreneurship before we talk about something else. But then, what I feel also, because I work in the financial institution, is that we have a lot of entrepreneurs, but we have a lack of maybe even the ones who want to try to become an entrepreneur, which are predominantly female. And what do you think is lacking in terms of, if I'm a girl and I want to start a business, why aren't there not many girls?
Many women coming forward. There are actually.
Really?
But trying to keep it
afloat
and trying to be consistent is, I feel the pressure is a lot more on women. I think I tried to understand that before, but it was until I had my own baby, then I saw myself trying to like delve, balance a lot of different responsibilities that I realized why women find it very difficult to continue. And it's not just entrepreneurship. You look at women who have 3-4 kids trying to balance a career. Because at the end of the day, no matter what you say, men will have it much easier when it comes to balancing domestic obligations and work. Because at the end of the day, I don't know so much about the current generation, because now I think men are also helping out. But if you look at our parents, even if there is, your mom who's working, the father will always come home and relax, and there's tea for him, and
but
he
that's a
doesn't really
patriarchy
have
culture,
and it's
but it's very
universal
Asian
also.
based, no?
Yeah. But even right now, when we have like husbands who are helping out, it's the obligation. There's a little more pressure on women.
Yeah, I think that's.
I've been very lucky because my husband's very supportive with the work that I do.
Okay.
We have one son, but every time I have projects where I have to leave, he's never said, the aluyanita this, that's it. And he actually gave up a lot of what he wanted to do so that I can pursue. And it's very difficult for both partners to continue at the same time.
Has to take a step back and then let the other person.
Yeah, and that's what I love about the current generation. I think men don't have that sense of, women should be wives and mothers, and you quit your job. Like Nigi Bashna, I've seen some of my male friends who have actually told their wives to quit their jobs. But now I feel with I'm being optimistic that way, that with the current generation, I feel men don't have that sense of patriarchal, entitlement. And I hope it continues.
But I think not only just patriarchal entitlement, also the toxic masculinity, like you have to think, I'm the man, I have to provide for my family. And the woman has to do these certain things when I'm in the household.
I think both genders need to have a mix of both, actually. Because of that obligation of toxic masculinity, as you said, men work harder.
Yes.
There's this pressure that why I have to work, I have to think also. So men end up like, there's no plan B. Whereas I feel there have been a lot of cases where women are like, I'll get married to someone rich. I don't really have to pursue this. I don't really have to provide for my partner. So Anigi Bebe, most of the times, I'm not saying generally Anibi, but most of the time women end up like, taking that plan B, that I'll rather be Dashram.
Because it's the easier way out.
Yeah. But I've seen a lot of women who become career-oriented.
Well, how would you measure success then in that category? Would you say a woman who's living in a nice house, living a comfortable life?
Did anyone come in a red car?
No.
Over here?
No. Assume this is how the unorthodox ad hoc or podcasts are.
It's okay. You'll be editing, no?
No. This is one whole long shot.
Really?
This is everything. Even this little bubble is going to be in here. We try to make it as uncut, uncensored as possible. Anyways, so
what were you asking?
How would you measure success? Now, would it be a woman, just in a female perspective, a woman living in a nice house with wonderful kids, a loving husband, but she's married into that, or a woman who's has achieved the same amount of success, but now let's say she's taken a lot of sacrifices doing it. So is that the goal important, or the way you reach to that goal important?
I think it's being happy, no?
No
No matter
so measure happiness.
Yeah,
as a success.
Yeah, whether you're
Content.
contentment.
Yes.
Whether you're somebody who's married into all of that, and people think that you're just somebody who's been
Not
given
breaking the
that.
glass ceiling.
Yeah, but if you're happy, happy being a mom, you're happy being a wife, housewife, then that's success for that person. Doesn't mean that you have to have a thriving career and makes you successful. And it doesn't really mean that an entrepreneur has to have so much money to be successful. I think we have a very one-dimensional idea of success. And it's because of that it creates that pressure on young people that, I have to be successful, and success means that. But at the end of the day, you just have to be happy.
So if I don't have that, I won't be successful and I won't be happy.
You're measuring your success based on what other people think your success should be. It should be more about how do you feel about it in that current situation, and
not
again,
be affected by external validation.
Exactly. And success, I don't think, is something that is consistent throughout. The level of success depends. Some days if you think that you're, as a mother, you like this, then you like it. And maybe 10 years down the line, when your children have grown up and they've become independent for themselves, then you decide, okay, now I would like to do something else, and you want to pursue that. Then that's another form of success. It does not necessarily mean that it's one level.
Taking that initiative on your own is also important.
Exactly.
Because if you're pressured by, I want to do this, but then khatam, or I can't do this.
But that's killed more dreams than anything else. No, that self-doubt.
Khatam,
Yeah, but that's the worst, I think, especially in a close-knit community from Bhutan.
Before when I was doing these videos, I really didn't want to be in front of the camera. So I would ask friends to co-host or thing, because I was like, I don't want to do that. But then after a while, I realized, kimida.
But now when you think Yeewong, we think you're the face of Yeewong. Literally, you're the face. You're the voice of Yeewong.
We have a very good team. Right now, I've been just focusing on a lot of Yee Getaway stuff. It's because I have a team who's taking care of Yeewong. And I have a content producer called Singye. And the way he's just coming up with ideas and editing and, doing everything. I wouldn't be able to, pursue all the travel content if it wasn't for this team. So it's not just me anymore.
Shout out to Yeewong team. You get to a team from your CEO. She's saying nice things to you.
It's not just me anymore.
Don't expect a raise though.
She's saying nice things to you so you don't spit in her coffee.
Unless you want spit in her coffee.
Ow.
What's this? There's no spit in this.
Spit in this.
This. Come on, it's my
I don't know what kind of movies you watch, you guys. I don't know what kind of movies you
Very
watch.
good ones.
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk about these things,
We literally are. We make sketch comedy for a living. If you don't go a little bit weird, it doesn't really work.
What's a weird movie like? What would you call a weird movie?
Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
Jim Carrey.
But he's very likable. He's
just
weird,
very unlikable. That's
Unlikable? What's wrong with you?
But he's very likable. No, I understand.
Exactly.
No, I'm saying when you talk about weird movies, right? I wouldn't really call it weird. Ace Ventura.
Okay, how about Jackass?
Movie,
Jackass.
Jackass is just Schadenfreude at this point. You're just laughing at somebody else's pain and misery, which is always the best kind of humor.
No, I like weird stuff. Let's say lot of Sacha Baron Cohen stuff. The Borat. That's very weird. He's weirder than you. I cannot imagine what he would do.
He's still likable though.
Yeah, he's still likable. So you need to be likable. You cannot be obnoxiously weird.
Yeah.
Then you won't.
But there's a different category of that as well.
Maybe people like the obnoxiousness.
Strange.
I mean, if you go for obnoxious weird, it's Eric Andre.
You find, oh my god, yeah. Watching his show makes you feel like you're on the dark side.
Yeah, you feel like you're on the edge, like please don't do that. He gets naked in front of his guest. He breaks the
I like
table.
his band though.
His band. He's going on.
Yeah.
The whole time he's just like taking a bike and like riding it onto his set.
Every season he has a new look.
Yeah.
So one season he's fat and has chete with no eyebrows. Next season he has
that
cornrows. Another season he's lost a lot of weight and he has like a full beard. So every year he wants to change his look for season.
But he just wants to make his audience feel uncomfortable, no?
Yeah.
Because we're not used to things like that. He's gone through a lot of uncomfortable shit in his life, so
He's comfortable in the uncomfortable, making people uncomfortable.
Yeah. That's why dark humor exists. Dark humor exists. It's not that dark humor is funny because the joke is funny. A lot of the time, dark humor is funny because of how uncomfortable it makes people. Like when you make a joke about an orphan, you're not laughing at the orphan. You're laughing at how uncomfortable people become when they hear that joke.
No, it's funny when you hear something out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
Like Yee Getaway, in his new special, he puts it properly. He says like, if I said I brought a little girl here, I kicked her, bang, and I threw her out the window, you'll all laugh, see? But if I literally brought a girl and I kicked her, then that's you wouldn't be laughing, would you?
Yeah.
So that's the
it's context. Keep it within.
Yeah.
It keeps it in the context, like Anjum Benigi. Anyways, Nola Kamshi Asma, Ajay?
Around an hour, 1 hour, 3 minutes.
No, then it's a good time, no? So. Okay, Ajim, I think we want to do the outro. Okay. Thank you for coming and spilling some light into your travels and your rise to be a conglomerate. How do you say? Conglomerate. Executive or whatever.
That's the right context though.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Okay, right, whatever. Bad use of English. It's not my native
You
tongue.
could just say company for crying out loud.
No, I wanted to sound fancy, but it failed miserably. Okay, Kinley, you help us with the outro.
Well, thank you so much for coming and being a part of this. We will be giving you a cup of coffee with spit in it.
Extra spit just for you,
Extra
Ajim.
spit for you. Nola's been working on a doma for a while, so that should give it a nice earthy taste.
The sad thing is now that's the only thing people are going to remember because you're concluding it with that.
No.
Despite the long conversation.
So that's why go back and watch it again. And
No. We always give the opportunity for our guests to plug anything, shout out anything. Please watch this or follow this. What would you like to tell my meagle audience? Was that the right word? Measly, tiny podheads. What would you like to tell the people?
First of all, thank you for
That's all.
making me part of this.
Yes.
What would I like? Okay, we are working on the project with documenting Sakteng Wildlife Sanctuary right now in partnership with Nature Conservation Division and Department of Forest. I would like you all to follow my journey in SWS, not because I'm traveling there, but because we want people to be educated on national parks of Bhutan and also show you the beauty and the efforts that Department of Forest Rangers are making to make sure our forests are protected. We hear about these things as like, it's part of GNH and biodiversity conservation, but how much do we really know about the work that happens at the grassroots level? So I'm exploring that, so it'd be nice if you can follow. Yeah, and that's the only plug.
Only thing, okay. If you're following Yee Getaway, please unfollow. If you're following Yeewong magazine, you should switch to Wall Street Journal and subscription with Ekinsil instead. And also you can follow Ajim on Instagram if you want or not.
No,
doesn't
just
matter.
work. Just Yee Getaway.
Yee Getaway or Yeewong Bhutan.
Yeah.
So that's about it. And don't forget to subscribe. We're trying to get to 2K. We are like 1.7K followers, subscribers on YouTube. So
and also the last episode of Getaway for this first season is coming out on the 25th of August.
And there's already a small snippet on Samugi Facebook and Instagram of our sketch about the Australian dream, considering the mass exodus of this country, which we did not dive in today, but forget about it. We'll give a little teaser.
I just want to conclude with one more note.
Okay,
I think what you guys are doing is amazing. The first time I saw your podcast, I thought it was so fresh, and we really need fresh content. Social media.
Freshly squeezed. Balls. Just kidding.
Just be you.
Yep.
Just be you, and congratulations.
Thank you, Ajay. Thank you. I appreciate it. And with that, see you all in the next episode. That's all.
Okay. My calm has fallen asleep.
Did we got better?
Let me show you guys Getaway.
Also, I want to give a shout out to my friends who's telling me to shout out their shit. I always forget, so I'll shout out to Levels. It's a new club in town. The entrance is free and the security is of utmost importance. You guys should check it out. It's in multi-level parking. You should also check out Naughty Pigs. It's a bar cum restaurant with all foods from different kinds of fusion of food. Also, shout out to Sem Gai Meto. You get flowers from Her, it's all
Are we-
freshly from our garden.
Are we getting
And
paid by
also-
any of
No, I'm just giving a shout out to my friends, man. And what else?
Potential
And then also a shout out to what?
It actually looks like a fist.
Doesn't it?
That's it, I think. Okay.
It's like this.
Tata.
Look, guys, look, the earth's being fisted.
This is the Pema Mountain Brikama.
Wow.
It looks like a fist.
Why? This is
Don't you
actually in Bhutan there.
In Luna,
see? Indiana Jones ki
It
set
looks
to
like a half erupted volcano which just stopped midway.